We just received maybe the biggest content drop for Dead Rails that we have ever seen, with loads of new classes, a new boss, a new location, which is for sure my favorite so far, but also a ton of new weapons, including anything from a Blunder Buzz that can basically one-shot werewolves, and it costs less than a rifle, to a sword that literally destroys everything around it with lightning. But there are so many things that got added to the game, and things that were even changed over the last couple of weeks, that I think we should 100% take another look at all of the weapons in the game, and figure out what is good, what is great, and what is absolute junk that you'd be better off yoinking off a cliff. So let's take a step back and take a look at all of the weapons of the game and rate every single one of them on a tier list. If you end up enjoying, make sure to hit that subscribe button. We're trying to hit 300k by the end of the year, but with that said, let's get right into the video. We'll actually start with one of the new weapons, and for that, what could be more fitting than probably the most interestingly named weapon, the elephant gun. No, this gun does not belong to an elephant. This is a gun meant to kill elephants. Yeah, you probably guessed that, but so far, elephants are not canon in Dead Rails, so we'll just have to use it on the enemies. Minus the yap. The elephant gun is one of the highest damage dealing weapons in the entire game, and unlike what you'd expect by looking at it, this just fires standard rifle ammo, even though it's a double-barreled shotgun. But it's super powerful, being able to shred through enemies, almost one-shotting to the limb with zombies even. It does have a fairly long reload though, so this really is not a weapon that you're going to want to main if you're trying to clutch up after being surrounded. But it for sure is great when dealing with single targets. The one major downside to it though is that if you're going to be closer to enemies, it doesn't actually do much damage. So it kind of acts more like a sniper, like a mid-range type thing than a shotgun like it looks like. It's not as insane as I'd hoped, however it does fit super well as a high A tier for me. Everyone knows what the rifle is. I don't think it's been changed once since launch. It's just got insane damage, fast fire, plus the ability to spam reload and fire for an endless stream of lead. It's buyable at any gunsmith, it's got affordable ammo, and of course, what's more to say? We all know it, we all love it. S tier all day. I get a lot of flack whenever I make these videos because I tend to rate the bolt action super low, just because of the fact that it's just kind of worse in every way over the base rifle. Less ammo, slightly less damage, and it's rare to find without the ability to be bought. However, in general, it's still, like, you know, one shot against zombies to the head. You can still get easy shots on vampires and werewolves alike, of course. So I'll be kinder to the bolt action this time, and I'll go with a solid A tier on this. However, in general, I'd say that the rifle is still better because of its ease of being obtained, and its slightly better overall stats, though the bolt action is still goated. Now, while we're talking about rifles, the crossbow isn't so much a rifle as it is kind of just its own thing, but it's new and I have nowhere else to put it on the list, so here we are. The crossbow is a really weird weapon to me. I feel like it doesn't really do that much damage, and in some of the comments you guys are swearing by it, saying that it 100% penetrates armor, or that if you hold left click it does more damage. I don't think that, but I'm just kind of confused because I feel like I'm doing something wrong here. I can definitely see it does the same damage with or without armor, so other than armor penetration, I guess it's just kind of mid? I don't know. I feel like I'll find some more use cases for it eventually, but for the time being, I can't really give it anything more than a C tier. Please don't crucify me. If I'm wrong, just let me know what I'm doing wrong in the comments, please. I beg of you. For the first of the shotguns on the list, we've got the brand new Blunder Buzz. This is one of the most overpowered guns in the game, shredding through armor and basically one-shotting werewolves. It's effectively a musket shotgun with a super long reload, but its insane damage more than makes up for it. You can find it very easily for free in the Stillwater prison, but you can also find it generally throughout the map, and it can be bought sometimes in the general store for just $50. I was worried whenever I first saw it that it would take some kind of proprietary ammo, but no, just regular shotgun ammo. And to me, that just makes it that much better. S tier all the way every second of every freaking day. The shotgun is super bare bones. It's easily obtainable at any gunsmith store, and it shreds, well, everything. It does a really huge amount of damage. It can be spammed reloaded much like the rifle, making it really just another solid S tier. It's pretty good. Though lately I do feel like it's doing a bit less damage. Maybe I'm just tweaking. I don't know. I have such a love-hate relationship with the sawed-off. On one hand, while it being a Game Pass item that I always have, it's just a super common weapon in general, and it does a lot of damage up close, so it's hard to complain in that regard. Though on the other hand, it's also seemingly super inconsistent with damage range. Sometimes you can snipe with it, other times you just can't kill something at point blank, and I don't know why. When it works, it's great, but when it doesn't, it can almost end a run in a really stupid way. But I can't go any less than 8 tier on this guy. I just have too much passion for it. Moving on to the pistols, the Electrocutioner is the best weapon in the entire game, hands down. While it does look a little bit more like the Gmod tool gun than anything else, it is a weapon that fires lightning down from the sky and one-shots just about everything. It even 3-shots the new Goliath mini-boss, at least according to you guys, and it's 7-shots Nikola Tesla. The best part about this weapon to me, though, is the challenge that it takes to actually get it. I do legit hate the lab zombies, and I want to rip off all of their skin, but nah, I mean, it's still worth it. I love this thing. S tier literally anytime. Anything less than that should be illegal. The Revolver is sort of a jack of all trades, master of none type of weapon. It's super easy to get, it's cheap, it's literally everywhere, it's super common, in every single gunsmith even, and it has a pretty fast fire rate with decent enough damage to kind of get by. It's generally a pretty cool looking weapon. I mean, if you like revolvers, there you go. But I mean, is it going to fill the hole in your heart? Maybe not, but it is a decent option to have early game. Abso-freaking-lutely. I think you'd be hard pressed to find people against me rating this thing B tier though. I'd say it's pretty good. I like it. My opinion on the Navy Revolver in past videos has not been really that favorable. I'm going to try to make amends with my most recent opinions about it. On one hand, I think that the Navy Revolver is one of the best looking weapons in the entire game. It's super cool looking. It sounds really cool when you fire it too. However, that's kind of where the good words end, but we'll come back to some later. I generally think that the Navy Revolver is fairly mid. I know you hate me and you want to tear my eyes out, but just hear me out. It does do more damage than the base Revolver. Sure, I like that, but it has a pretty fairly slow reload, like a really slow reload, and a really slow fire rate as well. And I think it actually leads to it just having a straight up lower DPS than the base Revolver. You can also buy these at gunsmiths, which is pretty cool, and you can shred zombies with it, but just don't count on it being your main source of fire given its slow fire rates. So to me, I still think I'll probably keep this one about a B tier, though I will say I do enjoy using it a lot more than I used to because I've really forced myself to get playtime behind it. Is it fair? I think so, right? I hope so. Yeah, please don't tear my limbs off. There isn't a ton to say about the Mauser C96. It too is one of my favorite looking weapons in the game, having a 10-round internal magazine and a decent enough fire rate. Damage is comparable to the Revolver, a little bit more so, I think though, than the Revolver. And it's only one of 2 guns, like the aforementioned sawed-off, that you can't get as a game pass to spawn in with every single game. Generally, it's fine. It gets the job done. You can find them pretty often at sheriff's offices. Pistol ammo is cheap enough, so that's good. But there just really isn't all that much else to say about it. It has benefits over some other weapons. I mean, I guess the largest thing is going to be ammo capacity. I think it's also kind of deserving of about a B tier. Moving on to the melee is probably the least liked category of weapons in the entire game. But we're going to start with probably one of the best weapons in the entire game now, the brand new Excalibur. We seriously need to talk about this weapon here because at first, me and probably a lot of other people were like, oh my god, another just useless melee that does no damage. But no, no. This might be one of the highest dealing damage weapons in the entire game. And it has a lot in common with the aforementioned Executioner that we just talked about. The first similarity is that you have to tackle a challenge in order to get it. That being, of course, you have to beat the brand new Goliath boss, and I think it's probably the most fun challenge in the entire game, and that's just for one. For two, it's also similar because of the fact that it strikes enemies with lightning, though in this case it has a 20% chance with every single hit, meanwhile doing like triple the damage of regular melees, making it just an overall insane and overpowered weapon. There is zero bad that I have to say about the Excalibur, so S tier, just all the way. There's nothing else I can say about it. Though the vampire knife isn't anything new, it recently did get a hidden buff that makes it one of the most broken weapons in the entirety of Dead Rails. It works by effectively letting you heal based on the amount of damage that you do, so hitting an enemy heals you basically. That combined with the new increased melee swing speed lets you be nearly invincible, especially if you're playing the vampire class as a whole. The castle where you actually obtain the vampire knife is kind of annoying and tedious to tackle, but this is generally a weapon that I say is worth the effort. I gotta go with S tier again. I can't go with anything else. Though I cannot say the same about the shovel. The shovel is the most bare bones basic simple weapon in the entire game. Everybody gets it whenever you start it out. It has a fast enough swing speed like every other melee in the game has now, but it takes 14 freaking hits against just basic zombies. It is actually awful. It is a freebie. Everybody gets it. You spawn with it outside of for a couple different classes, though it is probably the worst weapon in the entire game, and anything but D tier would be a sin. The pickaxe is everything that the shovel is, though it does have one little benefit over it. So while yes, it does do very little damage, and you can only spawn with it with one class, otherwise you have to buy it, the only reason that you really want the pickaxe is going to be because it allows you to utilize the mining function within the game, letting you demolish these rocks with coal, silver, or gold in them. I definitely want more ores in the game though. In the future, I think we definitely will get them eventually, but for now it's fairly useful and lets you get a little bit of extra money or fuel. There's not much else to really say about it. It's pretty self-explanatory, and for that I just say it's probably about a B tier. Now it's time to correct something that I had gotten wrong before in a video, because in my last version of this, I had taken all of my info directly from the Dead Rails wiki, which at the time I failed to realize was not official. So I got the Tomahawk entirely wrong, and a lot of you guys were extremely mad, because apparently it actually happens to be one of the best melees in the entire game, generally doing more damage than the other base melees, like the pickaxe or shovel, but other than just being a direct upgrade kind of over the other melees, and being a default weapon for the survivalist, it's just generally pretty good. That's all you can really say about it. It's a decent little melee. You can find them out in the wild. You could occasionally buy them in the general store. So I mean, is B tier okay? I guess. I feel like a lot of people would go A tier, but I find the other melees a bit more useful. So B tier is probably got to be it for me. Still great though. Sure. The Cavalry Sword is basically everything that the Tomahawk is, where it's better than the average melee, and you can find them out in the wild or buy them in general stores from time to time, though there is no class currently in the game that spawns with it, and that's really it. It's definitely better than some of the other melee options, and while I hesitate to take directly from the fan wiki, generally I'd say it's about on par with the Tomahawk. So it's pretty good. Also B tier, I guess. I guess that works. Though our last melee on the list, the Jade Sword, is one of the most unique weapons in the entire game, featuring a system where effectively you could turn enemies that you kill with it into friendlies. At least it has a small chance to do so. My favorite part about obtaining the Jade Sword is actually going to be just getting it like it is with some of the other weapons in the game, where there's like a challenge that you got to complete basically in the Sterling Mine, and I just enjoy it. I think it's a lot of fun to do that. I like being able to work to receive an item, though this is an item that honestly you can you can kind of live without. It does about the same damage as the two previous mentioned melees, just with that added extra ability, of course. However, I just don't feel like it's a very practical thing to use. I mean, what melee really is other than the Excalibur? That's incredible. But the main thing for me is that by the time you actually get the Jade Sword, you're gonna already have a gun with some decent ammo because you have to have tackled Sterling. So it's like by then melees are kind of useless, and with its fairly like mid chance of even turning an enemy, I just don't find it that useful. I think I might go with an A tier on this one. Moving on to the mountable weapons here, or the mounted ones, whatever you want to call it, we're going to be talking about another brand new weapon, that being the Ballista. The Ballista is an awesome bolt-action rifle. It's perfect for quick scoping. It looks incredible with the diamond camo. Wait, hold on, I got my notes mixed up here. Man, I miss Black Ops 2 so much. The Ballista in Dead Rails is a huge mountable crossbow that works not too dissimilar from the cannon or Maxim Gun, but to me is generally the best of the mountables, doing an insane amount of damage and also just launching enemies from time to time, which is pretty fun. It could be obtained from the prison as a guaranteed spawn alongside its proprietary ammo, but you can also find it out in the wild. I do think it's great for being able to clear werewolves or just kind of anything that's nearby that you just don't want to waste normal ammo on, because it's nearly always a one-shot kill. It doesn't have insane drop-off like the cannon. It does a ton of damage unlike the Maxim Gun, so definitely A tier is the way to go. Speaking of the other mountable weapons, the Maxim Gun. Now, I have been given a lot of heat towards my opinion about the Maxim Gun because I'm mostly a solo player, and it's really not a super solo-friendly weapon. But again, I'll try to be objective about its performance. Overall, it's pretty good. The Maxim Gun is super common, being able to be purchased in any gunsmith shop, but there's a bunch of other free ones that you can find around the game. It's effectively just a mounted machine gun with super low damage, decent full auto fire rate, and that's all there really is to say about it. I'm tempted to go B tier again, but it can be really useful at times, so just this once, I will go A tier for the Maxim Gun for overall gameplay. The cannon is going to be probably a lot of people's favorite mountable weapon in the game, and it's generally probably the coolest of all of them as well. It's only able to be obtained through beating the military base alongside the cannonballs that you can get with it too, which is required because that's just its proprietary ammo, but you can also find the ammo at general stores, which is good. It has an insane level of drop-off, but come on, it's a cannon, dude. It does a ton of damage. It's a lot of fun, and I do find it a bit more useful in solo because of the fact that you could just kind of lob cannonballs at whatever's coming at you. It's just a high damage dealing, heavy drop-off cannon that it deserves A tier. It just does. Anyone who's used it knows that. Now we're kind of moving into the non-projectile weapons, and we're going to be starting with the brand new landmines. They work exactly like how you think they do. Whenever an enemy steps on them, it explodes and it can send them flying. However, the downside is going to be that it also works on you, so you can easily blow yourself up if you're not careful. More so though, you have to be even more worried now whenever you're playing with randoms, because they can either troll you with them, or they won't tell you before lining the entire train with them, and you jump up and blow up. I don't mind them at all. I feel like they can be kind of useful, but they're more fun than they are practical, just because one miscalculation and you blow yourself up, just like in real life. Generally though, they're about maybe a B tier when they work. I'd go lower, but we have more new weapons to go over, and you're not gonna believe the next one here. The bear trap, I really tried. I tried so hard to like. It's also a brand new weapon, and it doesn't do any damage. However, what it does do is it traps enemies, but more times than not, you, wherever you're standing. Now, I've gotten myself stuck on these so many times to the point that a lot of games that I've played, more times than not even, I get completely stuck and it ruins the entire run. They're supposed to trap enemies, but it's just asking for a troll to come by, again, line the train with it. One misstep, that's it. Your whole run is ruined. You have to leave and join a new game. D tier, always. I don't care. I tried to like these, but they ruined a 4-hour run for me, and I can't forgive them for this. It's happened to me more than once, and no, terrible. Gunpowder barrels are going to be one of the last new weapons in the game, and they're really just kind of weird. I'm struggling to find much of a use case for them. They're basically just a huge dynamite with a longer fuse time and a much larger explosion radius with a lot more damage. I generally think they're pretty useful for just cramming into a doorway and letting enemies stack up on it, and it can be pretty funny for its limited use cases, but sadly, it does promote a lot of painful trolling, and I can't go any higher than B tier, which even that itself might be a bit high, but the few use cases where I think it is useful, they're pretty useful, so yeah, B tier's fine. Molotovs are yet another weapon that have received a buff, much like the vampire knife, that has gotten some decent changes. However, not remotely for the better. So Molotovs before did no fire damage to you, making them actually pretty useful for just throwing at the floor below you if you get cornered or if you're trying to tackle a horde in a town. Though now they do fire damage to you and your friends. So it was only a matter of time, of course. But it makes them not only a good troll weapon, but also it makes you have to be a lot more careful whenever using them. That combined with the fact that they have that crazy wacky price tag makes it almost completely wasted, especially during a solo run, because you're just going to end up setting yourself on fire. It's just a danger to use. I want to go lower, but I feel like C tier is probably just about as low as I can reasonably go. Holy water has a lot in common with Molotovs, but instead of regular fire that burns you, it's green fire and lightning comes down from the sky wherever you throw it. This is useful both for survival, but also for making unicorn's blood. Because, yeah, I know you've forgotten about it, but there is a potion system, so yeah, do with that what you will, I guess. They're rare in the sense that they can only be found in churches, which are just as common as towns are. But, I mean, overall, they work fine. I generally say that they're a bit better than Molotovs in pretty much every single way, other than ease of obtaining, but really not that bad. I'd say that they really have potential to be about an A tier if they're used effectively. So use it wisely. Dynamite can be used to troll your other teammates by blowing them up, breaking into bank vaults, or just doing big damage. It's more of a tool than it is a weapon, so other than not having much else to say about it, I would say that it's a C tier weapon. Lastly, for the kind of throwable-ish weapons, the crucifix. Now, this is more of a touchable than anything else, I guess I would say. Sounds weird, but it does have its uses, though. Basically, whenever you touch an enemy with it, it causes them to get hit by lightning. And depending on the enemy, it can either instantly kill them or do tons of damage to their health. There are just so many ways to use this that I 100% have to put it into A tier. Though, if you can't find any other use cases, you could just get a handful of dollar reduce for them as well. Now, finally on the list here, we have honorable mentions that I'd like to include. The Strange Mask. It's not directly a weapon, but it does let you turn any corpse into a friendly, which kind of turns them into a weapon. And you can do this with either of the boss enemies as well. Now, personally, I find it fairly useful, especially now that we actually have a mini-boss that he could help you during the Nikola Tesla fight. But otherwise, it's not really that useful to use, at least for most of the enemies in the game, like zombies or vampires. So it does have a really particular use case. I would say that despite all of its positives, its really particular use case allows me to kind of, I think, comfortably place it in B tier. Oh, yet another tier list out of the way, dudes. Loads of new weapons have been added. A bunch of other weapons have been changed. Some metas have been broken. Others have been created. And just general gameplay is so much broader now with this most recent update. Overall, I'd like to think that I did a pretty solid job on this tier list. If you agreed with any of it, make sure to hit that subscribe button, of course. But if you want to rip off all of my skin, feel free to let me know in the comments below. But while you're down there, yeah, also please hit that subscribe button. Thank you. With that said, I hope that you guys enjoyed the video. Have a fantastic rest of your day, of course. An unbelievably massive shout out to the channel members up on screen. You guys are absolutely incredible. And if you want to become one too, you can do so with the join button down in the description below. And with that said, I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see y'all later. Peace.